Hello, everyone. Welcome to our monthly transit call. I'm Ankhara Rose. This is Katy Davies, and we are Success Codex experts. Yes, we are. And we're here to really help you leverage the energy that is available to you just based on the way and where the sun is traveling throughout each month. So, roughly every 5 to 6 days, the energy changes, which is amazing because we get this epic opportunity to kind of tune into a new wave. Sometimes I like to think about it like there's this like wave of energy behind our sails. And if we can learn how to calibrate to it, to tune into it, to leverage it, where we get to work with the energy instead of against it. And so that's the whole idea of what we do. How are you today, Katy?
I'm good. I got my cup of tea, got my calendar. I'm all ready. Yes,
Yes.
excited.
Awesome. Okay, so what we're going to do is I'm going to share the slides and then we will get started. Wait, I clicked in the wrong place. Give me a second. One of those mornings.
Oh,
Big. Okay, so Katy, can you see that?
I can see that we're up and running.
Fabulous. Okay, so what we often like to do kind of right in the beginning is we read through the themes. So if you're not familiar with the Success Codex, the Sex Codex, okay. If you're not familiar with the Success Codex, like I said, it's one of those days. My cat's on my lap. Here's how it works, right? You've got 64 different key codes, right? These are these different numbers within these circles. And each one has a primary energy. That's its genius. There's an archetype that goes along with it. There's an alignment cue, how you can tell you're using it correctly, and an out of alignment cue. This is your sign, hey, maybe I need to just adjust a tiny bit. So we'll start by reading through these. Then we're going to go into which centers they're in. And then we'll break them down one by one. And so this, typically when we read them, like Katy and I have been really having a lot of fun kind of following the journey of moving through them and how they relate. And this month was a little bit more challenging for me to understand until I saw the centers that they're in. And then it all kind of clicked. But let's just read these words. So these are the primary themes for June: adventure, directing, impact, adaptability, and moderation. So I'm curious, Katy, anything come up for you when you look at this journey?
Like you said, it's not as obvious as some of the other months that it kind of came to me in an instant. But then when you mentioned the centers, I'm like, okay.
Yeah.
Yes.
So let's take a look at those centers and then we'll talk about the themes. So in the Success Codex, we view the centers a little bit differently than in human design. We don't really care if that center is defined or not for you on your personal human design body graph, because we are conditioned as human beings in every single one of these centers. And the way that I like to think about it is they work together as an ecosystem. So I call them, it's an ecosystem of success. And these centers each have their own theme that helps you to create success. So the first 3 transits of the month, so the first, few weeks, are all in human design. It's the throat center. In the Success Codex, it's called the impact center, which is about us influencing using our expression and our creations. So adventure, directing, and impact. And we'll talk about these and how they help us to create an impact. Then we move on to the navigation center, also known as the G center, and we have adaptability. So we're going from expressing, and then we come back and kind of reorient ourselves, right? Because the navigation center is about setting our course. And then we move into a key code in the momentum center, or the root, which helps us to take action correctly. So seeing this like this, Katy, does it change the way that you have been thinking about these and their relationship?
Yes. And also, I was thinking about them because I have a few of these.
Yeah.
And then that last one, the fact that you've called it the momentum center in the
Mhm.
Success Codex rather than root, I think that really helps actually the story that I was going to tell about this gate. So yeah.
Tell your story. Can
Yeah.
you do you
When
want to?
we
Or you want
when
to
we
jump
get
in and
when we get when we get to that gate and we're
okay.
doing it. But yeah, it'll all make sense.
All right, beautiful. So we'll, like be weaving these themes back in. But let's start with with the energy that is available to us today. And that is this beautiful frequency of adventure. So it's key code 35. So from today until June 6th, the kind of like the phrase to help you just kind of think about it and grasp this is my key to success is approaching life as a soul-led adventure and sharing the wisdom that I gain along the way. So remember, this is in that impact center, AKA the throat center. So yes, you are creating, you're moving through life, but what is the purpose of it? For you to share what you find along the way. The power of key code 35 is your ability to shift the way that you're experiencing what you are experiencing in the moment. Okay, so it's adventure, the explorer. That's the archetype, the explorer. So before I even read anything else, right? Like imagine that you're I don't know, something crappy happens. You get some hiccup. Maybe a client decides they don't want to work with you anymore and you really needed that money. And the tendency is to be like, oh my gosh, panic, close down, contract. Well, this key code is the reminder and can also give you this energy of being able to stay open to what the gift might be. What might this be leading me to? Like, sure, it's crappy. I don't like it. But like, how can I view this change in my life, change in my plan as an adventure instead of like a punishment or feeling like a victim, right? So your guiding question this week is how can I approach this as an adventure? And the way that you activate success is by bringing this sense of adventure and exploration into everything that you do. And you block it by endlessly seeking satisfaction from the outside. Okay. So part of the there's like an interesting dynamic here with adventure. You're not distracting yourself and you're not numbing out from adventure. This is adventure that brings you into presence. It brings you deeper meaning. It brings you deeper self-trust. So if you are adventuring, exploring to escape the challenges, that's the incorrect use of this key code. Does that make sense? Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'll go on and then we'll kind of chat a little bit about it, right? So I like to include a little like, how can I actually apply it this week? And this is the activity that I thought would be fun, right? Because we make up a lot of stories about what our current experience, like what's happening in our lives it is, right? We make up a lot about it. So we can shift our perspective into one of letting it be an adventure. And this is what I thought of. So the invitation is to go on a scavenger hunt for proof that your business, and that might be your finances, or might also be, or instead of business, right? Finances, relationship, health, etc., is doing better than you tell yourself it's doing. Okay, so think about a part of your life or business where you've been feeling constricted, bogged down. Maybe you're comparing yourself to other people, right? And you're going to find evidence that actually, maybe I'm not seeing this so clearly. Maybe this is actually doing better than I thought. And that's the adventure piece. Can you find the evidence? Can you find proof? It's actually not so bad. And so, on that adventure with each piece of evidence, I really invite you to feel oh my gosh, I just went around the corner of this beautiful hike and I saw this, butterfly land on a flower and I never would have expected to see that, but it's the butterfly that my grandmother used to love, like that level of, oh my gosh, this is amazing. This is beautiful. I'm so excited about this. So instead of like, okay, how can my business be an adventure today? We're just kind of hitting it from a different angle. Though you can also just say, how can my business be an adventure today?
Yeah, I really like that. And I have a client with this gate, this key code, and we had to really work quite hard with checking that she wasn't falling into the out of alignment,
Yeah.
because there sort of was this tendency to make the business far more complicated than it needed to be
Yes.
in terms of anything they'd done previously, a program they'd run, an offer they'd done, so like it kind of became that wasn't giving them that kind of adventurous feeling.
Yeah.
So we had to really work with exactly that kind of guiding question. How can I approach this as an adventure? It's like, yes, it's the same program. Yes, it's the same thing. You don't have to keep reinventing the wheel to get
Yes.
that feeling like, well, you're going to have different people on the program, or how can you inject that same sense of excitement into things, even if because otherwise, as a business owner, if you're thinking constantly to get that kind of excitement and sense of it, you're reinventing new products and services every time. That's exhausting. That's burnout. That's not sustainable. That's not going to work.
It is.
So,
And I find, and like I don't know if you're the same way. Like I love being creative in those kinds of ways, but it can also be a distraction, and I love what you're saying about it's just like, there are so many opportunities every time you run your program, right? If you're someone who you have a program, you run it multiple times, it is going to be new. You are different each time you run the program. There are many people I know who are resistant to rerun a program because the first time was so good. They're like, it'll never meet those same levels of expectation. But it's all an adventure. It's all an opportunity. It's always new. And on the other side, I feel like this key code, if you have it in a powerful placement, right, in your sun, really anywhere in your Success Codex, you might feel this really strongly. And also during this week of transit, it's also easy to distract ourselves.
yeah, be
Right.
aware this week. Are people thinking they need to burn it all down and just create something completely different? Like, if
Mhm.
you start thinking that, wait a
Mhm.
couple of days. And do you still think that after this transit has passed?
Exactly. Or you're like, oh, I've got to work on this. And you've got that energy built up. But instead of working on the thing that your heart really wants to work on, that you need to work on, you're like, I'll just go play some games on my cell phone, or, whatever you distract yourself, maybe create a whole brand new thing. The whole idea is whatever you have right now is the adventure if you choose for it to be. Right. And so there is a theme this month about our energy and our attention. And you're going to see that start to weave in, right? What am I viewing? How am I viewing it? How am I working with it? And we're about to move on to the next key code. And you're going to see how this use of energy starts to kind of come into play. Okay, so that was the first week. And week 2, we're moving into this. It's a very powerful key code, the key code of directing, key code 45. It's directing is the main frequency, the main gift. The archetype is the orchestrator. Okay, the orchestrator is at the front, or the conductor. Okay, they are not necessarily playing the instruments, they are directing. Okay, this needs to come louder, this needs to be softer. I think technically the orchestrator is right deciding which parts go where, right? I mean, think of the parts in an orchestra, the instruments are resources. And that's kind of the theme, our resources, our time, our energy, our attention, our love, our passion. These are all resources that we have. Money, right? So when you're in alignment, you'll be direct. So again, this is part of that impact center, that throat center. You will be using your voice. You will be directing. And when you're out of alignment, that power will kind of spill or tip over into being dominant. So you're not just knowing what's, like really the most efficient way to use whatever resources you have, but that out of alignment cue, maybe you'll be bossy about it. Maybe you'll be rigid about it. Maybe you'll be like a little bit, insensitive to others, or maybe to yourself if you're really kind of using and directing your own resources. So let's read a little bit more about this. My key to success, this is June 7th to the 12th, this is the primary energy, is directing resources towards their best use in a way that serves their greater good. So there's a few kind of things at play. We want to understand what the greater good is, or as much as we can. In other words, what are you moving towards? What's that big goal? What's that big intention? Then you take a look at the resources you have, time, money, attention, and you ask yourself, are these be energy, right? Am I using these resources to help me move towards that goal, or am I not? Right? So the question you can ask yourself is, what greater vision are these resources here to support? And you activate success by directing resources and energy towards what will serve the greater good, right? Which is kind of what we said here. And you block success by abusing your power or feeding your own and others' victim mentality. Okay, so abusing your power might be beating yourself up because you took a break and watched Netflix instead of writing that email. Are you going to beat yourself up about it? Right? That's abuse. Or it might be you really need a rest and you're not letting yourself rest because you have to get something done. So you can be a little weak. Any of us, when we're in this out of alignment Q45, can be a little tyrannical towards ourselves. And, this kind of victim mentality is, oh, I can't do it. That kind of this feeling of like, life is hard, life is not fair for me. These are the themes that can take you out of that power that comes along with key code 45. And Katy, feel free to just like pop in anytime. Okay. Okay. So how to apply it, right? So I thought this week is a really great time to do a time/attention audit, or maybe even energy, right? So get intentional with a time or attention audit. And you're just going to ask yourself, and these are just a few examples, but you can come up with your own list. What percent of your day do you spend scrolling, worrying, resting, laughing, connecting with yourself, distracting yourself, right? So think about where your energy is going. Where is your time going? And so, it is more about awareness than necessarily fixing, but it's a beautiful opportunity for you to practice using this power of directing and commit to bringing your time or attention resources back into balance. So if you say, all right, I'm doing pretty well. I don't really scroll my phone. I work, I rest, but man, do I worry. I spend like a quarter of my day worrying, my waking day. So that's your sign to say, okay, well, I might still worry, but how can I bring that into better balance? How can I use that energy that I'm spending worrying, doing something else? Well, maybe every time I catch myself worrying, I'm going to say, don't worry about it. Life is happening for me, right? You just pick a phrase and you kind of redirect yourself, right? If it's scrolling and something super tangible, put a screen time limit on. You can still scroll, right? This is not to make yourself wrong. You still get to be fully human, fully divine, do your bad habits, do your good habits, do whatever it is, but just be more aware about when it starts to get out of balance. Because the magic of 45 is 45 can see where there's an imbalance and say, this actually needs to go over here. Actually, spending money on this subscription that I haven't used in 7 months, probably not the best use of my money, right? And 45 has no qualms about saying that. Is it coming from an ego space? Is it coming so you could beat yourself up? Or is it coming from a space of, let's get ourselves closer to that goal, living as the person we want to live, impacting the world the way that we want to impact the world?
I feel like this one, we're talking about what is the link of them following each other. This energy is a very good energy to help you get back into alignment if you had fallen out of alignment with 35.
Yes.
So if you were antsy, inability to like sit still and kind of seeking all these distractions, then we're like, if that has happened, like 45 is helping you to actually hang on a minute. Like, where was I getting distracted with all my adventure? Let's bring it back in a bit.
Exactly. And, remember, all of these key codes are helping us be change makers and leaders in whatever capacity we want to be, right? I'm saying you can be the leader of your home as a parent. You can be the leader in your community as a volunteer. You can be the leader in your business. And so all of these also have this theme of this greater good that we're bringing into the world, right? And so yes, we in adventure we're shifting the way that we feel about the way we're growing our business, our life, our impact. And then 45 comes in and says, okay, we're viewing it as an adventure. We have this big goal. How can we get there most efficiently? It really is about efficiency. Like, that's a big theme here, right? So that we're not wasting energy in things that aren't helping us to create the impact that we want. Okay, so let's move on. One more that's in that throat/impact center, and it is the key code of impact. So this one's really powerful, coming off of 45. So this is impact, the archetype of the artist. Alignment cue is compelled. This is when you are compelled to create, and the out of alignment cue is affected, trying to create to, like for others versus and try to look cool, trying to be good instead of just creating because you're compelled to do it. So we have this adventure, we're directing our resources, and this is your time to really take all of that and start expressing yourself. The resources are back in balance. How can you bring yourself into this, your creative self-expression? So my key to success is using my creative self-expression to impact others. But again, this is the difference. I like to give this example a lot. It's the difference between I'm a visual artist and I, decide I want to make people cry when they look at my painting. So I paint a lot of really sad, depressing things versus I'm an artist and I understand the value of tears. And so I pour my tears into my artwork and create whatever artwork. Maybe it's abstract, right? And the impact that comes from that pure creative self-expression, where I'm not trying to make someone else feel something, do something, be something, is far more powerful, right? It's like the energy of, I don't know, not desperation, but that trying energy can sometimes be a little bit of like, it's just not as powerful. So you activate success by embracing and allowing your pure creative expression to flow. You block success by trying to be or appear special, right? Trying to create some impact. It's the irony of the impact is the byproduct of you expressing yourself versus you have to force it. And your guiding question is, what wants to be expressed through me right now? Now, I want to say this archetype of the artist, sometimes people will feel like, oh, well, I'm not an artist. I don't paint. I don't draw. I don't dance. But this is like the art of self-expression versus a traditional art. There are many people who have key code 12 who do happen to be incredible artists, poets, dancers. Art does move through them. But if that's not you, it's not actually what we're talking about. It's expressing. It's expressing yourself.
This is my permission. Yeah, this is my permission gateway. And I found I don't, so that's not traditionally in the human design chart. So when I did the codex, it was my first time of actually understanding this, but it makes a lot of sense in terms of the gateway that it's in for me, is like giving myself permission. What I need is to allow myself to what does want to be expressed through me right now. And I can definitely it's like you can just tell that difference between am I compelled to do it versus am I trying? Like I can really tell the difference. Like when I'm paying attention, I'm like, what are you doing here? You just like you're trying just too hard to orchestrate it. And kind of like you said, like with the painting, it's a beautiful kind of analogy because instead of like, well, when I want someone to read this post, I want them to cry. Like, so for me, social media, my business or something, it's like I'm just compelled to tell everyone this story and to write this down. And then the emotion that I put into it, whatever reaction they get from it, that's what's meant to be. So, but
Yes.
whenever I slip into, right, well, it's like controlling in a way, isn't it?
Yes,
Like the trying is
totally.
kind of control. Like, well, if I write this way, then they'll think this and then they'll take this. Like, that's wrong. That's like, no, I just feel compelled to share this story, share this emotion, share this picture, share this for a recipe, share this thing. And then someone has their reaction based on my genuine self expression.
Yeah. Right. And like we always come back to the conversation about using AI in copy and in our business. And this is like one of those times it's like, oh, well, I want to create an impact. So, and I don't want to, right? I'm feeling blocked with my self expression, right? Which could be possible. Remember, this is the throat center. A lot of people, especially a lot of women, feel blocked with their self expression, get choked up in their throat. And so they say, well, instead of finding my way into using my voice, I'm just going to offload it to ChatGPT. ChatGPT has the formula, but it has no feel. So it might say almost the same thing that you would say. But at the end of the day, it doesn't feel the same to the reader. And I know lots of people say, that's not true. I trained my Claude. ChatGPT sounds just like me. But I really believe unless you are consciously infusing that copy with a lot of your energy, you know how to do that. For me, it's very obvious when I'm reading something by AI. There's an emotional disconnect. And so this week, so June 13th through to the 18th, like write down on your calendars, or Katy, can you show the calendar? We do have a calendar as well that's downloadable, but that's your time to really give yourself the space to create. Take off the pressure. Let me share my screen because that's part of what what your make it real and apply it is. Give me 1 second.
I think part of me is that you make more impact by allowing yourself to express what wants to come through. So instead of overthinking, like it's
Yes.
always like the more you think about it, the less impact you have, or the less impact it makes on people.
Well, and I think that that's because underneath it all, we're all looking for permission to just be ourselves and stop performing, right? So the invitation for this week, the 13th to the 18th, is to create one thing. I don't care what that thing is, without needing it to be right or good or make you money or get you clients. You're going to create it for you. It can be art. It can be an article. It can be a video. It can be a poem. It can be, you can go collect acorns and make something out of them. I don't know, make bread. Okay. The bonus is share it, right? If you want to do a little challenge with it, actually share it. But honestly, if you're really out of practice of letting yourself create for creation's sake and express for expression's sake, you might not even be at the place where you're ready to share it. I mean, that's the full expression of this is I create it and I share it with others. But you can also just behind the scenes start building that muscle. Like maybe for this week, you say, all right, I'm going to doodle every day. I'm going to do a doodle every day, or I'm going to do a watercolor every day. And you make it art, or I'm going to write a poem every day, or I'm going to like write my thought about something that annoys me in the industry every day in my journal. At the end of the week, decide if you want to share it or not, right? But build the muscle. It's like a faucet. Open the faucet of self-expression and let it runneth, and I get stuck with this too, right? For me, I'm a very creative person until the pressure of it needing to be a certain way comes in. Then all of a sudden I choke up on my words. I overthink what I say. I start writing, I erase it. I don't need to do that. You don't need to do that. This is, your internal sense of what you have to share is enough. And that's the big magic that Key Code 12 brings.
Yeah.
Okay, we're moving on. We've got 2 more. So now we've shifted, right? Do a little, I'm thinking of Wayne's World. You see my little, you can tell how old I am, right? With my movie references. So the first 3 were in that impact or throat center. And now we're doing a little bit of an adjustment and we're going into that identity or the navigation center, which helps us understand, are we moving, right? Are we going in that right direction? So we had a little bit of like, how are we using our energy? How are we using our resources? How are we thinking about it? How do we express ourselves? Are we giving ourselves permission to do that? And then we come to adaptability. This is I have this one twice in my Success Codex, so I know it quite well. It's very much about flexibility, fluidity, and freedom. But there are kind of like 2 traps that we can get into with adaptability. So we're going to talk about those. So the phrase for this key code, and again, this is June 19th to the 24th. So towards the end of the month, this is also when we switch from Gemini to Cancer, right? That transition happens in astrology. My key to success is dancing with others and with life exactly as they are. So I want you to picture yourself like, you're going to a dance and somebody is dancing on the dance floor and you want to dance with them. Okay. How would you go and actually start dancing with them? They're doing their own thing. Would you come up to them and just start doing your own thing? Or would you start by kind of matching with them and moving with them? And then from that space where when you have some coherence between you, then maybe you can start to direct and you can start to change what the moves are. Right. So that's what this gift is. The adaptability is you can absolutely match anyone where they're at. The danger becomes when you match it so completely that you lose yourself. And, with this, right, because that can happen, right, where I'm no longer leading. Now I'm just you. Now I'm overcompensating. Now I'm overgiving. Now I've given so much of myself. I don't think it's fun to dance with someone when one person's giving 100% and one person's giving 0. It's not fun to partner with anyone in any way in that situation. What you want is 2 people giving 100% of themselves and finding a way to mix and merge and dance that together. So that's kind of what we're aiming for this week, right? So the question is, how can I dance with this person or situation while staying true to myself? How can I bring my whole self here, but still be flexible enough and able to change? So you activate success by meeting life and others exactly as they are and dancing with that first, right? You can start to shift it, but first you meet it. And this is kind of the other place that 15 can get a little off kilter, which is around structure. So you block success by either avoiding all structure, including the structure that others provide, right? But some people, so the out of alignment cue is floundering, right? So it's either I reject all structure or I'm not being fluid with the structures that I've adopted, right? So think about if you're someone who you're like, I'm creative, maybe coming back from impact, right? I've got this creative self-expression. I don't want to post it. I don't want to share it. I don't want to, stick to a schedule. Do you see how that's also not being fluid, not meeting like the needs of you allowing yourself to be seen? So when we're dancing with others, we do relinquish control, right? It's not about controlling. It's about presence and movement and serving that greater good, which is that other theme that's come up. So this was what I was thinking for this week for how to apply it. This week is about staying present, flexible, and whole while any challenges arise. So just think about your tendency. When a challenge comes up, do you have a tendency to become rigid? Or do you have a tendency to over accommodate, right? Do you lose yourself or do you stand firm? What's blocking your fluidity and your adaptability? So if you have a tendency to become rigid and hard and dig your heels in, this is your invitation to aim for a little bit more flexibility. And that might be by asking yourself, it's like, okay, well, what can I let go of here? Right? Or maybe it's even checking in. It's like, what am I afraid would happen? if, I don't know, if I let go, if I actually met this situation where it's at. And if you have that tendency to over accommodate, to lose yourself, oh, well, I don't have any clients this week. So, this person called and they want a 80% discount and I really need these clients. Are you over accommodating to be flexible here, but at the cost of yourself, your integrity, your value, the value of your work and your services? So if you have that tendency to over accommodate, be too flexible, you're going to aim for healthier or better boundaries. How's all this landing for you?
So this is not 15 isn't in my codex, but it's twice in my human design chart.
Oh, so all on the design side or just different planets?
So twice on the design side. But so we haven't mentioned this. We've mentioned it in other months, but I actually have the whole channel, the 515. So one thing we have mentioned in other months is actually also have a little look to any of the transits, kind of make a channel or kind of join up things for you. But I very much, when you were talking about the structure piece and like the floundering, the out of alignment cue, the unaligned cue, so adaptable, you lose yourself along the way. When I don't have anything in my like I often resist putting things in my diary, and I want some freedom and I want flexibility, and we're all, I'm an entrepreneur because I love that freedom and flexibility and stuff. But then if there's nothing there, I find myself resonating with that word, floundering. Yeah. Like I'm so adaptable to my day that I could do anything at any time in any way. So I don't do any of it. So it is, although I have the whole channel, so I go between the 5 and the 15 and create my own rhythm, I very much recognize that if I can flounder easily with this one. So if you notice that during the week or during this transit, and like floundering is quite a sort of easy thing to resonate with, it's like, oh, okay, have I completely just avoided all structures? And I need a little bit to help me. We're not boxing ourselves in and we're not losing our freedom, but I do genuinely believe like with structure comes freedom. Yes. Because we know when we're doing this bit or that bit, so then we can almost focus more intently on the not working piece. So yeah, I do notice sometimes I'm like, seriously, Katy, just put some times in the diary, all the structure. Yeah, I do resonate with that floundering sometimes.
Yeah, I mean, and I do too. I have it in my expression, so conscious Mercury, and I have it in initiative, which is conscious Mars. So I have 15 twice in my codex, and the floundering piece is real. Like I've had to really sit with and develop a healthier relationship with structure, because I did have a tendency to lose myself in structure. Lose myself in the rules. So there's always this resistance that I have to any kind of rules, because I'm such a good, I'm like, I want to be the good student, right? I want to do it right. And so I kind of have noticed it's been this extreme in my life. It's better now that I have awareness with it, but where I would either be like so losing myself in the rules, or no rules, no structure at all. And I flounder in both. My soul flounders when I'm like stuck in those rules, and like my sense of groundedness, like I need structure. And if you're familiar with human design, I'm a quad right, and everything says, oh, you don't need structure. You don't need anything rigid. Everything's fluid for you. No, not true for me. I do not do well without structure. And it's exactly the same reason that Katy was saying. The structure is what allows us to flow. It gives the ground under our feet. We don't have to identify with the structure, though. That's been the lesson for me. And, maybe if anyone here, I don't know who's still here, but if anyone has 15, if you relate to that at all, definitely type that in the chat. Okay. Anything else before we move on to the last one?
No, I just thought it's interesting because obviously I don't find myself floundering in the structure, but so it's interesting how it presents either way, doesn't it? It's so fluid. It presents
Right.
itself either way, whether it's too much structure that you find yourself floundering in or not enough. It's the adaptability, and that's the thing. I think sometimes, we talk about conditioning a lot
Mhm.
within this sphere, and we can be conditioned to lose our adaptability, and we're always aligning ourselves with one particular thing, and often we
Mm.
then lose that adaptability along the way. So it's a good reminder, isn't it, to adapt.
I mean, we really do have to. And yeah, it is interesting, right? I like as we're talking about this, it almost feels like it's not even about what we do or don't do, it's about what we're identifying with. If we identify with like again like the rules, then we've lost ourselves. If we identify with I can't do the rules, I can't do that, we lose ourselves, right? And the beauty of adaptability is I get to meet you where you are. I get to meet my business where it's at and still maintain myself. That's the sustainable way to do it. I mean, I don't think any of us do that perfectly. Oh, Tracy has 15 in her natal Saturn. Yeah, so you have 15 too. But like none of us do it perfectly and none of us are supposed to, right? We forget so we can remember. And so it's just about bringing awareness, right? When we go through these transits, it's experimentation and awareness practice more than anything else, and starting to play with that energy, see how it feels to really feel into like, like am I being flexible? Am I being too hard? Am I overgiving? Am I being rigid? And what does it feel like to bring that into deeper balance? Okay, we're going to do our last one for the month, June 25th to June 30th. So that's those last few days. And this is fully in Cancer, in the sign of Cancer. Some people do transits based on the astrological signs. I get that too. We're doing it by month though. And this is key code 52, moderation. I love this key code because people don't think it's very sexy. And I think it's so sexy. This is temperance. It is balance. Okay. So it's being temperate or reckless with your energy. 52, moderation. I want you to think about riding your car on the highway. Okay. Imagine you are gunning it. Your foot is all the way on the acceleration, on the gas. You're going as fast as you can during traffic time. You're going to be slamming on the gas and slamming on the brake. And that means that every time you accelerate, you have to accelerate really quickly. And every time you stop, you have to stop really quickly. So it makes for extremes and it's pretty exhausting. Whereas if I'm driving on the highway, I'm present in myself. I'm present to my environment. I notice where the cars are coming around me. I'm looking up ahead. I see, oh, there's some traffic up ahead. They're starting to slow down. I can ease my foot on the brake, ease my foot on the gas, and just kind of coast. And so that's the metaphor that I love for key code 52. It's knowing when to push and when to hold back my energy. Because what happens when we push, when we don't have the energy? We burn out. What happens when we don't move, when the energy is actually there? We self-destruct. That's when we go into doubt, right? So many of us, we have this idea, we want to offer this thing, and we don't make the move, and then the doubts come in. So this is about mastering our actual energy. So if we kind of go back, let's just go back on that journey, right? Like we started with, what did we start with? We started with adventure. We moved into directing and impact, all these things about like using our voice and our expression and kind of moving our energy towards something intentional. Now, then we hit adaptability, which is like, okay, like what am I dancing with here? And now it's go time. This is the momentum center. This is the energy to do things. But how do I want to do them? In a panic? In a rush? Like slower than my body system energy excitement wants to go, right? So there is patience and prudence and presence that's all wrapped up into key code 52. And when you can master this, you save so much energy. And then the journey feels like you're coasting instead of on a ride of extremes. So the question you're going to ask when you're doing anything this week is this the best use of my energy? Like, maybe yes, maybe no, maybe it's not, and you choose to do it anyway, but it's time to start bringing some awareness to that. You activate success by practicing patience and prudence with your energy, right? So you're not in that reckless, just rushing and pushing. You're going to get present and patient and prudent. And you block success by succumbing to pressure and misusing your energy. So pressure is kind of the danger zone for key code 52. So you're going to even think that last few days of the month, where am I feeling pressure that is causing me to feel like I have to make moves that I either don't want to do, I'm not ready for, they're not aligned with me, or they're a bad use of my energy, right? Like that's kind of how it works. So think about how that pressure is impacting you. And so for this week, they're just some awareness questions that you can then adjust your energy accordingly. So just asking yourself, where in my business, or if you don't have a business, in my work, in my life, am I pushing or overdoing it? Where am I coasting, like in a good way? And where in my business do I feel stalled? Right? So where am I pushing, overdoing? Where am I coasting? And where am I stalled? And so coasting, great, probably feels pretty good. And I'm not talking coasting like going under the surface and not really showing up. I mean, using your energy in that beautiful, like, yeah, we're going on that road trip with the windows rolled down and the music is playing and this feels good. And start thinking about where it doesn't feel like that, where that pressure is. And by the way, the pressure can go either way. The pressure can make you push and overdo it. The pressure can also paralyze you and make you stall out. So find what can be brought into balance and more moderation. And you're just going to make one little adjustment and see how you feel, right? This is not about doing anything perfectly. This is about like experimenting with your energy and getting into a better energetic pattern of how you use it.
I have this in my codex. It's my expansion.
I want this one. This is one that every time someone has it, I'm like, I want that one. Maybe because it's been such a long journey to like learn how to be moderate in my life.
Yeah, like when I first, obviously this I have the whole channel with this one. So I
Yes.
have the 9 is my sun. So obviously that's right at the center of my my codex. And then I have the 52 out to the side of my expansion, co-working in the little thing between the two. But what I first noticed when I started looking at like admittedly what it was the human design chart was a lot of the people coming to me had the 9 and no 52. And there was a big pattern when I looked at the charts, because they all had the 9, and then I came in and brought this kind of this 52 energy to kind of stabilize their kind of focus. And it really became quite a pattern. And it's in the, obviously, like you said, it's in this momentum center, and I do very much see it like that. And then funny enough, my membership is called Momentum, and pretty much everyone in there has the 9 but not the 52. So when I found that out, I was like, wow, you can even make it up. Like that's kind of how I energetically bring that to people. So this week, really think about that. Is this the best use of your energy? Because I love that. I love this key code. I love this one.
I do too. I just feel again like it's, people don't always think of it as being, I call it sexy, right? It's just like,
yeah, it's not sexy,
moderation, womp womp, right? But really, it's a key to sustainability. And I don't know about you. I want off the roller coaster. I want nice, slow, sustainable. That's what I want. And this is necessary for that. It's absolutely necessary. So I think that's complete. Anything else that we want to say kind of for the month of June?
I just think like going back to the journey through all of them, it's like the perfect then like sort of, I mean, it's not an end ever, is it? Because we go through to the next
Mhm.
piece, but completing that cycle of kind of all of those key codes into this thing, which is helping us to actually start to implement and get some momentum on all the energy that's come before.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's a dance, right? Like when you look at the whole calendar, you see how like the energies just kind of go through, um, and you're constantly kind of like coming back and balancing it out and like bringing these pieces all together. And like integration doesn't happen in a straight row, in a straight line, right? We are weaving, but they have these, I don't know, these like little mini arcs of like, okay, now I'm expressing myself. Okay, now I'm coming back into myself. Okay, now it's time, it's go time. We're going to use our energy. And that just continues to happen throughout the entire cycle of the year. So I wanted to just end by talking about a new membership that I created here in Substack. Um, it's um, it's really like a place where I'm going to be running a monthly masterclass, and I just had the thought that I'm going to add one more thing to Success Your Way, which is the calendar that we have for the transit calls will be in here. So just if you're interested in doing it, this is where you take your Success Codex and you actually start to deepen it. We have a training called the Success Codex Accelerator, and that's basically like a walkthrough that's going to help you connect to every key code that you have in your Success Codex, your own energy, right? We went through the 5 of this month in this transit. You have your own. So that will help you to connect with that. I'll be doing a monthly masterclass and also a monthly, depending on who shows up and what's needed, it might just be Q&A, it might be readings, and it might be coaching. But I have a feeling it'll be mostly coaching to help you to actually apply it. And then I'm also going to include the Success Codex. The transit calendar will be part of that as well. So the cost of the membership is $20 a month, or right now it's like 60% off. It's $97 for the year. If you've been in my world, or if you're just starting with the Success Codex, I think it's a really powerful place to start, because right away you're going to get tangible application. Because the whole point of all of these systems, whether it's my system or human design or astrology, isn't learning about it. It's applying it. It's actually living it. So the goal is to get you creating success in your own way, like the name of the membership implies. So I have that for you. I don't even know. It should be like when you go on my main page, there's a subscribe option. The free subscription is still there, right? This is for people who want to go a little bit deeper. So I wanted to share that with all of you, because I'm excited that we're doing that. And Katy, as always, I love you. Thank you so much. I love all the things that we co-create and all the insights that you bring. And we will, well, actually, let me just ask anything. I mean, I'm putting you on the spot, but anything you want to let everyone know about that's going on for you? Maybe not.
Not really. I am now I'm here on Substack. I am going to be putting more of my work on here. I was previously a Facebook girl, but you've drawn me over. You've lured me over to the Substack. So yeah, so I'm going to be posting more stuff. So my stuff, I do sort of human design and the codex and business all together. But like you said, it's the implementation, the practicality, that side of things. So yeah, my publication should be getting some more publications on it.
Amazing. So make sure that you go and follow or subscribe to Katy, and we will see you back here in about a month. Yeah. Thanks. All right. Have a great month, everyone. Mwah, mwah, mwah. See you soon.
Bye.